yeah, the people that say it's good are people who are like, kids are like this, and this is what
Oh,
kids are
no.
like. And it's like,
You know, Chef is one of those movies that I watched twice in one day. Yeah, it's in fucking Manitoba. Of course it's in Manitoba.
Manitoba.
And we're back with another episode. Welcome back.
Damn.
All right.
We really do be back.
And scene.
That's what
All
would
right,
happen if
ready?
we were bad podcast hosts.
Hey, we gotta clap. That's what would happen if we were bad podcast hosts. We wouldn't clap. All right. 3, 2, 1.
And scene. That's us clapping as podcast hosts.
That's a little rendition of what would it be like if we were to clap sync as podcast hosts. God, this has been like 10 seconds.
I feel like we're running on empty and we still have no ideas type of moment. It's like I thought of nothing and I'm still out of ideas.
I mean, I got ideas. I got a whole segment.
You do. I could talk about how I had COVID last time we recorded.
That's true. And we recorded in person. That's not true.
With a 20,000
like
person
to-
audience.
20,000 in front of 10,000 paid audience members. My segment though, which I'm gonna roll, start us off with.
Oh, I guess you could do that. That's fine.
We're gonna start with is this a real hockey team or am I gaslighting you?
Oh, I do already think that this is going to be a good time.
All right, I'm gonna start with a softball.
Okay.
First one, we got the Erie Bighorns.
The Erie,
real or fake?
The Erie Bighorns.
Erie Bighorns, real or fake?
A hockey team?
Yeah, they're all hockey teams.
I don't think that that's real.
That's real.
You're kidding me. Okay.
Second, we've got the Moose Jaw Warriors.
Now that has to be real.
That's real. Yeah, they play in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Okay.
I gotta do some clicks. I gotta make sure you can't. I don't want you to be able to read where I'm at. The Gatineau Floors.
I'm gonna say that this is a fake because you're trying to slip in a name that I might not pick up on.
That is a fake. It's the Gatineau Olympiques, and that's the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, the QMJHL.
I hate that.
Oh, now let's give a shout out to this next one. Let's go the fuck, I want to do this one. The Brandon Wheat Kings.
The Brandon Wheat Kings?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, Brandon Wheat Kings. Final answer, real.
Yeah, that sucks for them, but it's real.
It does suck.
That's
for
a
them.
real team.
Can you imagine that being your team? Couldn't be me.
I mean, how do you cheer for them right now? Good job, Wheat Kings. Let's go, Wheaties.
Let's go, Wheat Kings. Yeah.
What about the Bay State Bobcats?
Bay State Bobcats. Oh, that doesn't sound like a hockey team is the problem, right? Like a lot of these teams, you tell me their names, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a basketball team. But that doesn't sound like...
The Brandon Wheat Kings sound like a basketball team? Actually, you know what? The Brandon Wheat Kings sound like a basketball team.
See, I was thinking more the Erie
right.
Rams sound like a basketball team, even though I knew that...
It's the Bighorn.
Or, I'm sorry.
And
yeah,
the Erie Bighorns are like the little kids hockey. It's a junior team. Some of these are very, like, obscure, weird teams.
I mean, I would expect nothing less. I feel like it makes sense for you to
and
try
some
and
of them aren't
like,
real.
Right. I did also pick up on that when you told me some of them aren't real.
What's your vote on this one?
Oh, on the Wheat Kings? No way.
No, the Bobcats.
The Bobcats? I'm gonna say not real.
They are real.
Oh no.
From Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Holyoke?
Holyoke.
All right. That's fair.
What about the Yellowstone Quake?
Yellowstone Quake can't be real.
That's real. And not only is it real, they're asking for a problem when that happens.
They are. No, it's going to be really bad for them, like, sooner than they anticipate.
PR situation, a nightmare. Also, if that happens, they're probably just not going to have an arena anymore because they're, like, in Wyoming.
The Quake arena right on the fault line.
All right, what about the Niagara Ice Dogs?
I think that's real. I feel like I've heard that
That's
one.
real, yeah. That is real.
Man, how
We
dumb
actually,
would I have
the
been
Otters.
if I had been like, yeah, I think that's real. I've heard of them. And you're like, no, you haven't.
No, we played against them like last week.
Oh.
Um,
That's probably why I know about them, honestly, that I probably had seen them play before.
what about the Austin Ice Bats?
I hate that. That's probably real.
That's real, and it's sick as hell. Why do you hate that?
Only because it's a good name and it's being wasted on a hockey team in Texas.
Hey,
Maybe
the
wasted
Stars were
is a
pretty good
strong
for a
word.
while. There's a little bit of a southern. There's some teams down there. A lot in the NA3HL, and you know it's good because it has the same letters as the NHL, and then some more.
That's true. I know.
Now the
find
Austin Ice
quality
Bats
that way.
were the Austin Ice Bats were a team for a while. Then they went away for a bit, and now they're back as an NA3HL team. I'm pretty sure the original Austin Ice Bats became the Stars, the Austin Stars, which are a junior team that feeds into the Dallas Stars.
Huh.
There you go. Next one, New Ulm Steel.
New Ulm Steel.
Yeah.
You know, I think the worst part of this, right, is that some of these I could even like, because that almost sounds like a Pittsburgh team. It's not, but it almost sounds like it could be a Pittsburgh team only because I know Pittsburgh has a steel boner. You know?
The Steelers.
Yeah. I'm gonna say fake.
It's real. From New Ulm, Minnesota.
Damn.
What about the Shawnigan Cataracts?
Cataracts?
Cataracts. Yeah.
So like the cataract, like the eye thing.
Shawnigan Cataracts, real or fake?
It's gotta be fake, right?
It's real. And it's not the same as the eye thing. It's got an E in it, and it is a Native American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a French-Canadian team. Up next, Winnipeg Ice.
That's real.
Yeah, it's fucking real. Isn't that stupid as hell?
Mm-hmm. Who have I heard talk
The
about
Winnipeg Ice. I don't know, but the Winnipeg Jets are their NHL team, and they're pretty cool.
I can respect that.
Yeah, what about the Macon Whoopie?
That can't... Jackson, I hate this because I know that the likelihood of this being the team that made you decide to do this bit is super high, and I hate that so much. Get out of here.
It is not the team that made me do this bit.
They're not real,
but
are they?
But it's real. It's real. From Macon, Georgia.
No.
What about the Medicine Hat Tigers?
That sounds real.
Yeah, that one's real, and that's a bit of a reversal because the mascot is very normal. It's just the name of the place they play is very weird.
The name of the place?
They're from Medicine Hat. They're from Medicine Hat.
What a name! Imagine living in Medicine Hat.
It's like actually like seems pretty nice.
It's a city in Alberta.
Then you have to live in Medicine Hat. What about the Vancouver Giants?
No, because they have the Canucks.
They do have the Canucks and the Giants.
No.
I think that's where I'm gonna wrap this bit for now. There's so many good hockey team names.
I feel like many just gaslit to death by the existence of other things right now.
Yeah, pretty much all of those were real. That's the craziest thing.
I was expecting a lot more fake. You only hit me with like 3 fakes.
I think I only had 1 fake.
That's even worse.
Yeah, there's that many like bullshit teams. I didn't even talk about the Texas Junior Brahmas.
No, I'm not engaging with that.
What about the Minnesota Loons?
No.
The Danbury Junior Hat Tricks.
Danbury Junior Hat Tricks?
Yeah.
The fuck out of here.
They're called the Hat Tricks. Yeah. That's one of those teams that like, you don't want to be bad and be named the Hat Tricks because then everyone's going to make fun of you all the time. Also, the St. Louis Junior Blues.
I don't like that either. But like, I couldn't tell you why. I just really don't like it.
The Milwaukee Power.
Yeah, that one I am familiar with.
All right, that's a wrap on that segment. But yeah, there's a lot of hockey teams out there, and every time I learn about a new one, I'm like, this cannot be true.
And then it is.
The Brandon Wheat Kings, they're out there.
I think the Brandon Wheat Kings might be my favorite terrible thing that you told me about today.
Yeah,
because like, that's bad.
Yep, and it's real. And it might be all they have. I don't know what else is going on in Brandon.
Honestly, I think the worst part was just learning a bunch of city names. I think that was the worst. Not even the team names, because some of those team names are pretty bad, right? But like learning that there's somewhere called the Wheat Kings, far worse. Or not somewhere called Brandon, That's just like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the name
it's
of the place. It's Brandon.
Brandon, Manitoba. Let's
Brandon,
check out the Brandon,
Manitoba?
Manitoba. Yeah, it's in fucking Manitoba. Of course it's in Manitoba.
Manitoba. You know how Manitoba is. I don't even need to tell you.
Population 51,000. That's not that big. But it's way bigger than Brandon should be.
Isn't it bigger than Erie?
No, Erie's like 100,000.
Okay, comforting.
You know, honestly, Brandon looks quite quaint.
Are you surprised?
A little bit. I feel like I would hang out in Brandon, Manitoba.
I don't know, man. You'd have to hang out in Manitoba.
Yeah.
Is that
Something about like just saying Manitoba is just like you have to say it like that.
Yeah, it's one of the, you know how there's some words that you can't say without the accent because it just doesn't sound correct anymore.
Manitoba. Manitoba. Manitoba.
It's just right. You just have to say it the correct way. It's not my fault.
Two to make a thing go right. Okay. Noah, how was your COVID week?
I'm not gonna lie, man. It sucked. But more wife guy posting. It sucked primarily because I didn't get to see Nina for an entire week, and I was just kind of vibing for a whole week and had to just kind of mind my own business. Now, here's the biggest problem on it, though, if we're being honest. If this had been a week in the middle of work where I just got to enjoy having that time, I think I would have enjoyed it more because I got to be honest, the COVID symptoms they disappeared pretty promptly for me. I haven't had a fever.
Broke your fever.
Well, I ended up having a fever again. It just wasn't as bad, but he did break the worst of my fever. Yeah.
Through sheer rage, you were able to heal yourself.
Sheer rage. But my fever officially was gone on Tuesday, and since then, that we're recording on Sunday right now, so for the better part of a week, I have felt fine outside of a cough. I haven't even had a runny nose or anything like that. So it's like, here we are. I don't know.
That's good.
If it hadn't been that I already had an entire month off work, I would not be unhappy with the extra time off. But I did have a month off work.
Yeah.
So I had to delay coming back to work by a full week. And because of how my work schedule was set up, I'm not even going back to work yet. I don't go back to work until Wednesday, which was already the plan. I was supposed to have like a really long weekend because I have like training and stuff. But still, oh my gosh, it's so depressingly boring. Like COVID the first time was worse because I wasn't fully vaccinated and they had like a longer quarantine period. That was still in like the 2-week span.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the superior 1-week span, where they're like, hey, we got to get people back to work, which in concept I'm opposed to. In reality, I'm glad that I don't have to stay quarantined as long anymore. It's pretty nice. But, now we're here and back up and about. Went shopping today. It was quite nice. I haven't left the house since I got my COVID test. So been using this time to watch a lot of movies though. You know what movie?
Okay, you watch any good ones?
Well, that's the thing, right? I watched.
You didn't.
Batman.
Only bad ones.
I watched a couple of good ones. I watched Fast and Furious. I watched Fast and Furious 2. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Those are both incredible films, yes.
Mm-hmm. And while incredible, I will say I can't believe that we got like a 10-film franchise out of that first movie.
Nobody likes the tuna here. Yeah, well, I do.
It's so good. But like good derogatory, not good complimentary, bad complimentary.
Yeah. Too Fast, Too Furious is just incredible. Because the sexual tension.
The sexual tension between the two leads is insane. You gotta love it.
You know they dated.
They may deny it, but it can't be true. But, I also decided because I've been, because I was stuck at home, I was streaming a little bit more. And I've been trying to get through some of my Steam backlog because I just own a lot of games because of Humble Bundle and stuff like that, Yeah. So I decided to play through the Arkham games, and that's made me like kind of get back on my Batman mood. I'm like, oh, Batman, this is nice. So I decided I would rewatch Batman Begins. Man, I don't want to be rude to that movie and say it doesn't hold up, but it doesn't really hold up.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Like
shame.
The Dark Knight came out, and I went and watched The Dark Knight, and I was like, "Yo, this is really sick." And people were like, "There's a movie that came out before it," and I was like, "Is it this good?" And they were like, "Not at all." And I was like, "Okay, I'll pass."
And I hadn't thought about how it's not as good because I had only watched The Dark Knight so often that, because it was one of my dad's like background movies. He would put on The Dark Knight. We never really watched Dark Knight Rises because, it's not that good.
It's fine, but it's not as good.
Yeah, it's big fine. Not great. It's just fine. And, you know,
Yeah, it's definitely one
I
of those. That's like probably the sequel that is the most improved over the original, or over like the
100%.
first.
100%.
Although
Like,
but not many people would consider it to be necessarily like a sequel. Although it is technically.
yeah, and that's, I think a lot of people forget that it is a sequel when they talk about great sequels. No one seems to bring up The Dark Knight when we're talking about sequels being better than the original. Because I
I think
feel
it's just
like
because
people
superhero.
remember, I think people remember Batman Begins being better than it is.
I just think people don't remember Batman Begins.
It's
I think
possible.
many people are just forgetting Batman Begins was ever there. Because, like, I would not have remembered Batman Begins unless you said that. Just because I remember The Dark Knight because I saw it. I remember The Dark Knight Rises because I saw it, but I don't remember The Dark Knight Rises that well because it was just not, like, I only watched it once or twice. I think I
Yeah,
watched it in theaters and that was it.
I definitely watched it at home once, but I never watched it more than once. I'll tell you that much. And that's not to try and like pass judgment on people that did. I don't remember anything of it outside
You know, I
of
have,
Bane being there. I think
yeah.
I've seen more clips of Bane than I've seen the movie. Or I mean,
I
obviously,
haven't
but like,
seen. I think I've only seen The Dark Knight only like once or twice. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember watching it that much. Like I'm not remembering that much about the actual movie.
really,
Maybe I should watch The Dark Knight again. I won't, but maybe I should.
maybe you should, but you don't have to. Yeah, I don't know. I've watched it a lot. Like I said, it was one of my dad's favorite background movies, but those went in those always went in cycles.
Yeah, I feel like The Dark Knight is for sure a dad's favorite movie.
Mhm.
Like just like put the stamp like the dad approved stamp on it. Cuz like it's pretty gritty, but it's not so gritty you can't watch it with like a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And that's
And it's
definitely
a
its biggest attraction, right? Like it's
yeah.
safe enough to watch with the family, but also it's dark and gritty enough that you can kind of have it on for everyone. And it's Batman. The comic book aspect of it definitely makes it seem safer than it is in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz if it was like let's say you replace Batman with John Wick in that movie and then everything else is the same,
Mhm.
I feel like then it's not okay to show to a 12-year-old.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And not like John Wick, like from the movie where like he's like bashing the skulls in and like exploding heads.
Just if
Like he
one
does
for
all the
one
stuff
you
Batman does.
substitute
Yeah,
Keanu
the
Reeves'
shots are
John
exactly the
Wick
same.
character
Yeah, script
instead
stays
of Batman.
identical. Yeah, it would just be like, oh,
This is
this
now
is a
just
little
a movie
violent.
about
This
a
is a little
hyper-violent
much.
man.
Yeah, but when it's like Batman, you're like, oh shit, look at him go.
Mhm.
Then it's cool. So that's the comic book hero effect.
It is.
If it can be on your kids' pajamas, how bad can the movie be for them to watch?
You got a point there.
Hmm.
Oh, shit, what was it? I As you were saying that, something else came into mind, and now I just
Another
can't.
movie you watched.
I mean, I watched a lot of movies. Speaking of John Wick, I watched Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk movie, where it's just a John Wick ripoff, but it's very fun. You know how some movies they feel like they have a beginning and an end, but they don't have a middle?
Venom.
Venom is definitely one of those movies. My usual go-to is the Daredevil movie from back in the day.
I've never seen it, but I have seen the scene where the guy flicks a peanut into an old lady's mouth and kills her like 100 times. the old lady is like, I hate being on this plane or whatever, and he's like,
Yeah.
what a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like that's not a like I get it, he's a villain, but like that's not like that villainous. That's just kind of mean. Like I feel like if he was like truly being villainous, he would like hijack the whole plane, but he just like kills an old lady to be a dick. Like I'm not impressed.
Oh wait. Dan's not here, so let me do a Dan voice. I don't know. I mean, I would do that. There we go.
You would kill an old lady with a peanut, Dan.
Well, I mean, when you put it that way.
I'm gonna Google old lady peanut Daredevil.
I think it would be really funny if it, for some reason, this time doesn't know what you're looking for.
No, it did. I haven't seen this clip in a while, and holy shit, Bullseye is the worst looking villain
Oh, he's so bad.
ever.
Jason Statham kind of looking guy, you know?
Yeah, who is the actor that played this guy?
Not Jason Statham, but
Absolutely
they clearly
not.
wanted
Daredevil.
Jason Statham.
2003. Let's check out the cast of Daredevil 2003. Obviously, you got Ben Affleck. That's a given. And then Jennifer Garner.
Right.
Colin Farrell. That's Colin Farrell?
As Bullseye?
Yeah.
No way.
Bald and with a target etched into his forehead. That is not Colin Farrell.
It's called acting, Jackson, because you
Holy
can't
shit,
see
'cause,
him
yeah.
actually it means that it's better.
I see a picture of Colin Farrell next to him. I'm like, yeah, that's Colin Farrell right there. And I see Bullseye. I'm like, that is not the same man. What an actor.
You don't see actors like that nowadays.
Yeah,
All people want to do is
they all green screen. They
phones.
They phones. I think yes.
Mm-hmm. All actors know is green screen they phones, eat hot chip, and lie.
Jon Favreau is in it.
He is?
So is Michael Clark Duncan. I have not seen Daredevil in so long. Actually, no, I've never seen it. I've seen the clip of him hitting away with a peanut. That's right.
I was gonna say you've never seen it. You said.
I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, like this seems like how did I not know this guy was in it? Oh, I've never fucking seen it. I don't know.
You know what else Jon Favreau was in? The Sopranos, and I didn't know that until just the other day.
I know him only from Chef.
He doesn't look
in which
anything like he looks in Chef. I have only been familiar with his appearance in Chef. I had no concept of the fact that he used to be like, and this is gonna make it seem like I think he's not a good looking guy now, because I think he does look attractive, right? But like, I also had no concept of him being anything other than the kind of overweight, good looking guy. I didn't know that he used to be like a hot guy, you know? Am I connecting?
I guess. Maybe. I literally don't know anything about Jon Favreau except for he was in Chef, and I really liked that.
Yeah, no, he used to.
But other than that,
he used to be a hot guy. It was a thing
he
that
was
he
an
did.
executive producer in Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Wait, he produced Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 and was like, time to be Chef.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He did the Avengers Age of Ultron, too. He did Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame, and The Chef Show. Well, holy what? The Lion King, The Mandalorian.
Yeah, you didn't know that he did The Mandalorian?
What the fuck is Jon Favreau doing? They put him everywhere.
No, yeah, he's the one that made The Mandalorian work.
He's the Mandalorian producer and the Book of Boba Fett producer.
He's also like director for a good deal of like writer director or just director for Mandalorian.
Young Sheldon.
Yeah, dude, it's some of his greatest work. You didn't know?
He made the pilot for Young Sheldon.
That's actually insane though. I didn't know that and I do hate that information.
Jon Favreau, the guy from Chef. I can't believe this.
I just love that you only know of him from Chef, so it's like doubly weird for you seeing him do things. And I also kind of only knew him from Chef, but also just as a producer. I don't know. It's been a whole time.
Damn. Jon Favreau.
More power to him.
You know, Chef is one of those movies that I watched twice in one day.
Why? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? But it was I watched it once and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good movie. And I watched it with a friend. And then later that day I was hanging out with a different friend and they were like, hey, do you want to watch this movie Chef? And I was like, I just did like an hour ago. But yeah.
I respect it.
So then that's how I watched Chef twice in one day.
Hey, if something's good, it's good. You know.
Yeah, and I don't, I'd watch it again. It's been years now, because this was when it was new. This was when it was like a.
See, I haven't seen Chef. I only know of him in Chef because of Binging with Babish, which is
I've seen Chef twice in a day, and I've never seen it again. I've only seen it twice.
I love the fact that you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch Chef, and then you decide to just watch it many times.
I did independent of the first time I watched it. The second person I was hanging out with that day was like, "Hey, there's this new movie called Chef. It's like really good, apparently really good. Do you want to watch it?"
And you're like, "It is,
buddy.
really
I've got
good.
some news for you." Yeah, do I have some news for you about Chef? Because I just watched it, and it is pretty good.
Love
I said, "I'm gonna watch it again." Because I didn't bring it up. Like, it would have been weird if I was like, "Hey, we should watch Chef. I just watched it. Let's watch it again."
No, yeah, that 100% would have been a weird decision on your part.
The first time it was my idea. The first time I watched it that day, I was like, "Oh, I've heard this movie's good. We should watch it." And then the second time, that's how you're like in tune with your friends when they suggest, when you got like a similar idea for watching a movie.
And they suggest the movie that you just finished watching an hour ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's hard to get much more in tune than suggesting a movie that you watched that day.
Chef.
Specifically. Yeah. I wouldn't dream of suggesting another movie for you to watch, You know how it is.
What, did you watch any bad movies?
I don't think I did. The more I think about it, the less I think I watched a bad movie. I just watched a lot of movies.
I can get behind that though, because I feel like it's pretty rare that I watch a movie and then I'm like, this is a bad movie.
Nina and I were talking about that last night. Well, I mean, I'll watch movies and be like, that was a bad movie. But I, off the top of my head, was having a really hard time thinking of a movie that is just a waste of time that I'm mad that I've wasted time watching.
Yeah, there's always at least, like, especially, I think if you were to watch a whole bunch of movies by yourself, that chance gets a little bit higher. But, like, especially if you're with a group of friends, there's really no bad movies, because, like, you're going to find a source of enjoyment somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't necessarily think of just, like, a genuinely, like, ass movie I've watched.
Right? It's, the more you try and think about it, the harder it gets. And also, not for nothing, I think part of the issue is that it ends up being harder to figure out, like, what they're even named, because you just end up forgetting about them. Like, why should I remember?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I remember. It's called #horror, and it is like, it's a commentary on the kids type of movie, but like
what's the kids? I'm thinking The Lost Boys, and it's probably not a commentary on The Lost Boys.
No, like the kids meaning the youth of America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, #horror. It's like a movie where all of these kids and their phones and their hashtag challenges, and
how could they?
And then one of the kids ends up killing her friends because she got bullied. But
That's
like,
fair.
There's a lot of details about the movie that I simply do not remember, and it's really, really, really bad. And people talk about it like it's good. And when I say people, I need you to know that I don't mean people who, for lack of a better term, people who matter. They don't say it's good. I'm talking about people say it's good in the sense of like, oh yeah, the people that say it's good are people who are like, kids are like this, and this is what kids are like. And it's like, are you fucking stupid? I hope you don't have kids, because this is the worst movie I've ever seen that takes on kids and what kids deal with. So like,
I love shit like that. Like,
right?
I love when people, like, I love the chronic commenters, the Jonathan commenters of the world that are just like, I've got something to say, and it's smart. And then they say the biggest wave of nonsense you've ever heard in your life.
Oh yeah.
Every single time the Otters lose a game, one of the things I do is I cut up the highlights for like social media for like, like the little fun moments from the game.
Yeah.
And one thing that happens without fail is that people, if they lose, people will comment, "Oh man, they should have scored that more," or "Oh, they shouldn't have let in so many goals." A fucking course they shouldn't have. That's how games are lost. Yeah, it would have been great if they got more goals, because that's how games are won. Like, thank you for your insight. Gee, you're a genius. Why don't they just get the coach out of there? Get in there, buddy. All right, kids, go out there. You got to score and don't get scored on.
Damn. I wish
Incredible.
I wish they had thought of that, honestly.
But the problem is it's always like 10 people and they're always like genuine about it. They're like, yeah, I think they should have scored more and then gotten less points scored against them. Thanks, Diane.
I can't wrap my mind around saying that and thinking it's genuine criticism or like contributes to any conversation at all, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
What
sorry
can you
that
do?
this is the world you live in.
No, it's fine. It's just funny. I haven't really heard many people talk about hashtag horror. I think I saw you talk about it.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's
At one
not
point?
like not only is it not good, it's not popular either. So it makes the people that have seen it even more insufferable to me. It's like you found this obscure movie and you're like, I agree with this shit take. I might have even
That
talked about it on the
sucks.
podcast before, if we're being honest. It's
You might have, because I feel like I've heard some discourse, but I know that no one but you has said this in my life.
Yeah, because it was just one of the movies that was on Netflix. My brother and I, every now and then, back when I was living at home, we would, we'd pop on Netflix and see what they have. And I, so disappointed in Netflix's horror selection. People like joke about how bad their selection is all the time, but it's not a joke. It's legit.
No,
Just
their horror
terrible.
is abysmal. Their hashtag horror is just awful. And speaking of hashtag horror and Netflix,
Mhm.
did you hear Leatherface got canceled?
I can't believe Leatherface got canceled. It's about time, honestly.
What? Yeah, what's up with that movie? Have you seen it yet? Is it out yet?
It is out. It came out
I
2
think I
days
saw
ago.
Rob talking about it.
Yeah, I think Rob didn't mind it, but
Yeah, I think his take was like, I didn't have a bad time.
and honestly, that's the general take I've seen from a couple of different people that like this is no offense to Rob, but he did say it in his own tweet. He says a movie is good if he enjoyed it, and that's not necessarily correct. So
Yeah, it's not like an objective. It's kind of like literally what I was talking about a minute ago, where it's like, hey, if you're with a group of friends and you watch a movie and you have a decent enough time, you make some inside jokes. It's a good movie.
Exactly.
It's a good enough movie.
That is how Rob watches movies. It's not how I tend to try to watch. I try to be a little more objective with my opinions, but I still like bad movies sometimes. Everyone does. That's life. But people whose opinions I trust more than Rob's also have said that it's not that bad. So
Yeah, I think honestly Netflix did it the biggest disservice ever because from what I've gathered, it is way better than that fucking scene where the guy's like, try anything and you're canceled, bro. But that's the scene they use for all their promo.
yeah,
And that's the biggest disservice they could have done to the movie.
it's very endemic of the Netflix problem though, because they don't know how to market their fucking content to save their lives.
If I may, I think they do, and I think they're stupid. So I think what they do is they purposefully go in for like an outrage marketing type deal. Like when they're like, oh, let's put the dumbest shit that everyone wants to hate watch it, and then they find out it's not that bad, and then they get talking about it afterwards. Like they talk about it before because they think they're going to hate it, and then they talk about it afterwards saying it's not as bad as I thought. But that's stupid and makes no sense and is dumb, and they've done that with like a couple movies. They're just asking for... They try and make it seem like it's way more problematic or shitty or bad than it is, and then it actually drops. People are like, this is literally not at all like the promos made it seem. The promos made it seem like it was going to be like an outrageous, exploitation piece, and then they look at it and they're like, this is a normal movie.
Yeah, you're probably right. It pisses me off a lot because like
Outrage marketing works so well on millennials though. Millennials are fucking stupid.
millennials
They'll be
fall
like,
for
"Oh
outrage
my God,
marketing
I
like
gotta-"
nothing.
Yeah. Like every millennial ever is dying in the comment section for some idiot who's just trying to make them mad. Just log off. Just swipe, scroll, get out of there.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I hate it. I know. Hot take. Hot take. I hate outrage marketing. Wow, so brave. This just in.
Thank
No
you,
one
Noah.
has said a braver statement in their entire life before.
What about Brandon Wheat Kings fans who are still cheering for him?
You're right.
Still
I'm
saying,
sorry.
let's go. The bravest among us. Although I guess you can just still chant "Let's go, Brandon" in Canada.
Yeah, you could.
If you're chanting in Canada that you hate Joe Biden, who gives a shit? You don't go there. Like you can't. What are you gonna do? Impeach him?
I still see a lot of people that shit talk Biden from Canada, and it's just
You're
like,
in fucking
dude,
Manitoba. How are you gonna? What are you gonna do about him?
like
You
y'all got
make the
Trudeau,
drive
and
over?
you're really gonna complain about Biden right now? You got your own
Get
people
mad
to
at, yeah,
handle.
get mad at your own guy, but like, come on, like, what? So I feel like the Brandon Wheat Kings, they can still be cheered for in a "Let's Go Brandon" fashion.
I also feel like that would be the same as people going to an Otters game saying "Let's go Erie."
That is true. They do though.
You're kidding me,
They
Jackson.
more "Let's Go
Please.
Otters," but like, there's a lot of Erie related stuff too. And depending on the team, sometimes they call them by the name. For example, last night we played the London Knights. And they called them London. Like the fans like cheer "London sucks," like "fuck you, London." Um, yeah, it's pretty funny because every time, I can send you the audio clip for you if you want to put it in the podcast. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Probably.
You recorded it
But
on
like
your
they play
phone. You were just there. It's no big deal.
it was not recorded on my phone. But that's fine. They do like those. They play "Sweet Caroline," and that's the name of, like, the dog. That's like the on ice mascot.
Mhm.
We have like a little puppy. It's like a mini Australian Shepherd, and her name's Caroline. So they play "Sweet Caroline," and whenever they do like the ba ba ba, instead the crowd was just screaming "London sucks."
So Sweet Caroline, London
London
sucks.
sucks. Yeah. And then like "Good times, everything's so good." They suck. They suck. Yeah, it's great. They're so pissed. It was like a packed house. They were fucking fuming. And then we lost with 21 seconds left to go in the game.
Well,
Heartbreaking.
shit, who sucks then, huh?
True. There was also a fight at the end of the second period in which
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, first of all, might I add, if you ever talk to me about hockey in the future and you're listening, if you're one of the people who says "I love a good hockey game in my boxing match," ha ha ha, you suck, and you're not as funny as you think you are. You're not as original as you think you are. Also, they literally fucking pause the clock when that happens, so they play the same amount of fucking hockey every time. Idiot. I hate that shit. People are like, they're breaking up the fight to play hockey. No, they literally play 60 minutes no matter what. The refs stop the clock. You think they're gonna keep the clock rolling when you like deck a guy in the head with his own helmet?
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Anyway, there was a fight started by a notorious member of the London Knights. Notorious because his dad like basically killed someone with two-handing them with a stick, ended their career.
Are you?
After the goal was scored. Yeah, and now his son's playing on London, and he started like he was like cross checking pretty hard from behind at the end of the second period, and then like a scuffle broke out. And when he got kicked out of the game for misconduct, he took a bow, and it was the most egregious thing I've ever. It was hilarious because he like the entire stadium's like screaming obscenities and like booing him, and he like takes a bow and he's just like skating around in circles. It's hilarious.
A jackass.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit, but it's real funny.
That's amazing.
Taking a bow after getting kicked out of a game is it's hhigh class, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
But to be fair, the crowd was screaming at him. Yeah, like if he like got sad that the crowd was screaming at him and like cried and went off the ice, then that would be like a little bit like But he took it in stride and took a bow. Piece of shit though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's not even the biggest piece of shit on their team, but we're not gonna talk about the biggest piece of shit on their team because he got kicked out of NHL for getting canceled. Now they let him play on the OHL on the London Knights. So take that as you will. Anyway, what were we talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
I was talking about how much I love when a hockey game breaks out at my boxing match. Just
I think I'm gonna pour water on my keyboard. Just to get an excuse to get out of here. No, you were mentioning the Texas Chainsaw. Have you seen it?
Oh, I have not yet. No.
You watched a lot of movies and you haven't seen it.
See, it came out, and I was gonna watch it, and then instead I watched The Sopranos for 6 hours and played Civ.
That sounds fun.
It was, honestly. I love Civ. I ended up getting all of the expansions for it because I think that it's worth it, and they were all on sale, and I had most of them anyway, so I just paid $10 for the final ones.
Yeah, I enjoy Civ. I haven't played in a while, and I've only really played 5, but I would like to play more.
6 is good.
If they're not on sale though,
you're gonna
so
spend
expensive to get.
You're paying like Sims level pricing to get these games.
Yeah,
if they're not on sale. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Have you heard the edit of, or not the edit, the version of Eleanor Rigby, but instead it's Tony Soprano.
Yes, and I love it.
Every time someone mentions The Sopranos, that just starts playing in my head. Tony Soprano, New Jersey mobster who likes to feed ducks by the pool. Was gabagool.
It's very good.
It's so good. Yeah, it plays in my head every time The Sopranos is mentioned. I've never seen The Sopranos, and I know nothing about it.
It's honestly,
except for he waits at the diner at the end.
Dude, I haven't finished it yet. Don't spoil it.
I don't know what that means, though.
Yeah, but I'm gonna know what it means now.
Do you know what it means? I think there's I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, but by the time I get there, the context will be clear.
I don't know. Do you think is it like a let's talk about the rabbits?
I think
is it like
probably.
Do they say that in the show? Is that they call it? Is that what they call getting?
No, but I can see a situation where he would just be waiting at the diner that he's at all the time.
He's at a diner all the time.
Oh yeah, they're at all kinds of places all the time. He's also at the Bada Bing strip club all the time.
The Bada Bing strip club? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's called the Bada Bing Club, and there's like a naked lady outline on the sign.
All right.
But that's got nothing on the fact that the sign itself, the bees in Bada Bing, both have tits.
Don't do it. Don't say that.
No, I'm not kidding, dude. It's really it's really
okay.
stupid.
I gotta look this up. Bada Bing Club, Sopranos. Okay.
You should look at sign because you might just get shots of the inside.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I'm not. There's no. I'm seeing the sign and there's no boobies. Oh no, there are. Fuck. They go here. What's this? I thought The Sopranos was like a story about like a rich guy living life in the top of New York or something.
No, he's in Jersey.
It's in the song, yeah.
Yeah. New Jersey mobster.
What does he do? Yeah, what does he do?
He's a New Jersey mobster.
Yeah, but what does he fucking do? Like, is he like So is he a hitman kind of mobster? Does he just like he's racketeering?
He's a boss. So he's the one that tells people what to do.
Oh, he's the boss.
Yeah, kind of. That's like part of the entire like first arc is him setting up his uncle as the boss, but he still runs things behind his back, yada yada yada. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. The core part of the show, though, breaks down to toxic masculinity is a bad thing, actually, and the way these guys are handling their problems is not healthy, and stuff like that. And I think it's really funny that this is a show that, like, it's one of those, like, quintessential, like, toxic white guy shows, I feel like. It's up there with, like, your Ricks and Mortys.
Is it? See, I don't know enough about The Sopranos to understand
It's a different era of that kind of... But it's the same kind of guy who's going to sit there and talk too much about, like, The Godfather and Goodfellas. You know, like, that kind of guy.
Yeah. Like the kind of guy who's also like probably racist, right?
Oh no, definitely not.
Or at least says the diet racist thing that everybody does where they're like, I remember when gangsters were like this, and then shows a picture of like Al Capone, guy who fucking did so many shitty things, and they're like, not like this, and then shows a picture of Snoop Dogg, a guy who has swag and is cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
I hate that shit. That's like the dumbest thing. Like, I remember when gangsters were like this and they respected their moms. What part about fucking, like, Tupac makes you think he didn't respect his mom?
Mm-hmm.
The part where he said, I respect my mom, was it that part? That threw you for a loop?
It did.
Fucking nitwit. You just don't like people of color, admit it. I'm Irish, shut up! Sorry, I'm just strawmanning and getting mad at, mad at my own fake
you're
guy.
right.
But I've met these guys.
Who are going to say, I'm not white, I'm Italian, or, Irish people used to be treated bad too, so yada yada yada. No, it's the same people that are like super into shows like this. And I will say, don't let that scare you away, because it's the same thing as like super fans of like Breaking Bad who like somehow miss the point that this is not saying it's so cool to sell drugs. It's actually talking a lot more about like, hey, doesn't it fucking suck how Walter White had to do this so that he wouldn't fucking die? Yeah.
The people who like don't understand fucking like Breaking Bad, that Walter White isn't a cool guy who becomes a hero as the story goes on. Are you like The fact that I have several people who are under the impression that Walter White gets cooler as the show goes on and becomes like a real man and a hero, you're like, bro, are you kidding me? When he was a chemistry teacher, that was when he was at his best. That's the point of the fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
But he, through his, like, you know, misunderstanding of what it means to be masculine in a man, and his inability to ask for help from people who are willing to help him, he finds himself digging a deeper and deeper hole into desperation, and he finds himself in a position where he likes the power he's gotten, and then he does the, you know, gets worse and worse and worse over time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad. He's degrading as a character. The point is the moral degradation of Walter White and how it like negatively affects everything in his life to the point where that greed consumes him, and then there's like a flipping point in the show, and that's like, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's the point. No big deal. It's only the point of the show. But yeah, it's Sopranos is a very similar vibe. You got the show opens up with Tony having like this massive panic attack, falling into his pool where the ducks are, because the ducks go and fly away, and he has like a moment where he's like, no, but that means my kids are gonna go away. Like subconsciously, he doesn't know this, of course, but he learns it from his psychiatrist, who's like,
He
Tony,
goes to a psychiatrist? That's
yeah.
incredible.
Well, that's the thing, is
Good
he
for
doesn't
him.
tell anyone about it because it's like not cool. And you know, it's a woman psychiatrist, so I mean, you can see where that's going. Imagine a woman psychiatrist.
Imagine if there was no heaven.
Damn, you got me there.
Imagine dragons. Okay, yeah, I feel like maybe I'd like The Sopranos. How long are episodes?
It was a show with an hour-long time slot.
Not
so,
fucking watching it.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely longer than you want to sit down and watch, but I really like it. It's very good. And I mean, not for nothing, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not one of the people that really enjoys like Italian mob culture movies and shows. You know, like
it's just connecting to your roots.
Yes, exactly. It's connected to my roots. Fuck you.
Noah, who's Italian.
But you know, like, I love those movies. I think that they're a blast. And yeah, Sopranos scratches the itch for me, you know? But
I have a professor, this is related to Italianness, who is from New York City, and it's one of those things where like she clearly comes from money.
mm-hmm.
Talks about how she doesn't like socialism in Europe, and then also talks about how her great-grandparents came over from Sicily as the sons of an olive oil business, who then came and were working through importing into the United States as the importers so they could cut out any interaction with like the American side of things. And I'm like, dude, your grandparents were fucking mobsters. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's all that means.
Yeah, that's literally what that means. And she's like, yeah, they brought over the olive oil business and they were working it stateside while the olive oil was being imported from Sicily. And I was like, okay.
From Sicily?
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
a lot of just...
There's a line that you cross when you go from Italy to Sicily, and that's where the mob connection cannot be ignored. Like, you just can't.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, you're like, dude, you're literally like your grandparents were from the mob and they sent their kids over to start up branches here. Oh, it's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I am very high percent that she does not think that.
That's so funny. I can't imagine not putting two and two together.
Well, I think there's also a level of like plausible deniability that everyone wants to have, you know?
Oh yeah. 100%.
Because my professor clearly not involved. You know,
No.
she like is a professor of like semantics in Old English. Like she's not, you know, like she's quite nice. So I doubt that, you know, she is in any way affiliated, and I think part of her perhaps inability to recognize or unwillingness to recognize comes from wanting to remain distanced.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, because of this strong
It's
desire
worth
to remain
noting,
distanced,
I just want to let you know
like...
they didn't come to the United States. They came to fucking Brooklyn. They went from Sicily to Brooklyn to import olive oil. There is one type of family that does that.
Yeah,
and it's not one related by blood.
Man, that's good. I love that. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Poor her.
R.I.P.
And they can import their olive oil. Yeah, okay, bud. Importing a lot of olive oil. Although
Man, thank
also
goodness they
like
did that to try and cut out the American businessmen or whatever.
what are the Tony Soprano crimes?
Racketeering is definitely a thing. Extortion, murder, fraud. It's all the mob stuff. There's a lot of extortion and blackmail. You don't see him in the first few seasons and stuff. You don't see him do too much himself. I'm only into season 2, like almost done with season 2.
How
But
many seasons are there?
I think there's
Wow.
6, 7.
How is it? Is it like a Game of Thrones where like a lot of people getting capped?
No, from what I understand, a lot of people agree The Sopranos is one of the best things that ever hit TV.
No, not like I mean like is it one where like
I thought I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Vinny Soprano gets like a leg broken.
There's a lot of people
And
that
then-
die. Not too many of the main
Okay.
cast has died that I'm remembering, but I also have a terrible memory.
And I don't know enough much about it. I don't know anything about The Sopranos, but I just know like I know that there's crime and murder involved, so I wasn't sure if that murder and crime. I'm sure at some point in the series it has to strike home.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. A lot of it is that's another core part of the show is that Tony wants to be a good dad, but the only way he knows how to be a good dad is to be a better mobster and provide for his
Oh.
family, and then get mad that his family doesn't see that as him being a good dad. Where he's like, "Do you know all the work that I've put in for this family?" type of guy, And people are like, we know that you're a criminal. We don't give a shit. We just want you to be less of a shitty person kind of situation.
Like his family saying that.
Yeah.
I just feel like it kind of not that Breaking Bad is derivative of it, but it's a similar narrative against like toxic masculinity and the way that we view production as the means of value that is to be held most sacred for men. You got the characters like Tony Soprano. Like just your family would be happier, dog, if you just went and worked construction.
Mm-hmm.
Like they wouldn't be angry if you were like, hey, I'm making less money, but I'm gonna go be a normal, clean guy.
Mm-hmm. And it's great in that regard. That's one of the things that I like is like, and also one of the reasons that you'll end up having like some of the fan base be a little less enjoyable to interact with. Because while a lot of people get that, there's also the same number of people that are like, The Godfather is cool, and that's what I want to model my life around. Back when people
or the ones
had
who were like Tony
respect.
Soprano, he did what he had to do for his family. He
Mhm.
fucking didn't. That's the worst part about Breaking Bad. Like the most infuriating part is that really at no point in the series is there a time when like there's like a reveal that again I never finished the show. I watched like 3 seasons of it and I can't watch it that long and it gives me it makes me panic.
Yeah.
So I watched a lot of it and then I've read through a lot of it because it's a little too intense for me. I'm a baby.
Yeah, that's fine.
It sets off certain things for me, but anyway,
You could just say you're not man enough to watch the Cook and Meth show.
True, dude, that's true. He never understood it. Like as far as I can know in Breaking Bad, there's never a point in which like it's revealed, he was right to have not taken the money from his old friends.
No, yeah. In fact,
it's just
there
fully.
is there is a point in the finale where like he is having a confrontation with his wife, and he's trying to explain himself away, and she's like, "For the love of God, don't you dare tell me that you did it for us one more time." And that's the first time that he finally admits that he did it for him because he liked it. And it's like a huge,
but like
finally admitting
because he finally says it out loud. I mean, it's kind of obvious that he did it for him because he likes it. As soon as he's the one scene in like the beginning or end of the second season, beginning of the third, where he's like in the Home Depot and he's like seeing people buying stuff for meth, and he like goes out and like corrects them, and then he like gets back involved, and the whole Gustavo thing, that's all voluntary at that point, and that's the point where like that's the tipping point in the series where he stops being like, I've got to try and get better and get money so my family can live, and then he's like,
this is my empire now.
I want to sell meth
yeah, no.
for me because it's cool, and that's the huge tipping point, and that's why like. If he would have gotten out and actually stayed out at that point, then yeah, you can tell your wife you did it for her. You did it for the family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But he can't do that. No, there's no world that he can
because
get away with saying that.
because it's that idea. He found the power and he wanted to keep the power and he didn't want to ever let it go. And for that, he's a little butthead.
Yep.
Dad, you killed Uncle Hank.
Exactly.
That's
See, you know.
Honestly, the best character, Walt Jr. for sure.
Walt Jr. and his fucking breakfast. Holy shit. I think most Breaking Bad like shit posting groups are called breakfast posting because of Walt Jr. And he doesn't
Walt
even
Jr.
like
is just sick.
he doesn't even like
he doesn't like
do breakfast that much. It's just that he's like around for breakfast and breakfast only. So
he
people are
is
like,
like
oh,
the
Walt Jr.
the king.
breakfast posting.
I do love. I don't know. I just actually like Walt Jr. though, because like he's just a normal teenager and like he doesn't like his dad, but like good. I don't either.
Yeah, no, he is correct.
And I don't like Hank, but sometimes Hank is a good time when he's Schrader pilled.
I feel like Hank is one of those characters that both aged
I don't like
really
him,
well and really terribly, because he was always like shitty, but he was also clearly supposed to be like the good guy in the situations, you know?
He's working for the good cause, but he's shitty. And that's like the whole point of him being like the character foil for Walter, is like Walter is working for a bad cause, but initially he's not shitty.
Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be good.
Yeah, whereas like Hank is just like, oh boy, I can't wait to use a slur.
Mm-hmm. Man,
what about
him talking with his Mexican coworker was always just a moment of me being like, ah, cool, it's gonna happen again, isn't it?
Oh, we hate Hank for that one.
Yeah.
His coworker was pretty cool though. What was
Steve
the
Gomez?
detective that
Yeah,
Gomez was cool. He didn't really he's just like a guy.
Yeah.
He was also he was also kind of shitty though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, no, he covered up for Hank a lot.
Yeah, he did some shitty stuff himself. That's for sure. We can all agree the best character is Walt Jr. And then
I don't think anyone could ever argue that he's the worst character. So
yeah, if you think you can tell how cool someone is based on whether or not they think Skyler is the worst character in Breaking Bad.
I definitely used to be in that camp. I hated Skyler so much.
I mean, she sucked.
And then in my most recent rewatch, she does absolutely suck. She sucks so much. Her like back and forth about how she feels about Walt and the drugs and everything, depending on her current situation, is like, hey, shut up. But also, this time around, watching it, I'm like, why did I hate her? It was like the cool thing to do.
Like everyone like was hating. It was like hate Skyler the show, which sucks. But yeah, I feel like people hate her, and she's not like she sucks. But would I rather hang out with Skyler or like murderer and drug dealer Walter White? Like who is like actually a cooler person?
Skyler, who is. I think here's another thing is once you watch the show and you stop thinking of Walt as the good guy of the show just because he's the protagonist, I think that once you get past that, it's like, oh yeah, she's really angry and very justified actually, because Walt won't stop. Her husband won't stop lying.
Fucking missed the birth of their child because he wanted to sell meth, and then also is just like a piece of garbage. Like her extortionist, or not extortionist, her embezzling boss was way sicker than Walter. What was his what was his crime? Cool crime. Oh, he's embezzling. That sucks.
Tax evasion.
Don't do that. But like, he seemed like he was fun.
Yeah, like what's a worse crime? Tax evasion?
Well, here's the thing. You know Walter White was committing tax evasion too. He wasn't paying taxes on those barrels. Are you kidding me?
No, and that was a huge thing, is he got mad when Saul tried to tell him how he could launder his money. He's like, what do you mean? I'm not giving the government any of this money. This is my money. It's
libertarians be like,
dude.
We should probably cut it here pretty soon. I realize we've gone a bit over time on we got Walter pilled.
Yeah, we have Walter a little bit, but that's all right. That's all right. We got Walter pilled. Base Schrader and Walter pilled.
I do kind of want to watch The Sopranos now.
It's I think it's worth it. I think it's fun. If you like mob movies, like if you thought The Godfather was pretty good, and if you thought that Goodfellas was pretty good, I think that it's worth watching.
I have only seen Goodfellas. I saw The Godfather when I was very young, so I don't really count that as having watched it because I was like 10. So So like it didn't really like none of the things actually sunk with me except for like when they were like shooting stuff. I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
So maybe I should watch The Godfather, or maybe not. You hear Francis Ford Coppola is on some new shit right now?
Yeah, I read the interview. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I think it's like people were really mad at him, but he didn't really say anything that bad. He was just like, yeah, a lot of these movies can be copy pasted in the way that they develop stories.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's very true.
And a lot of people were like, there was no reason for him to bring Dune into this. And it's like, no, but he's right. You know, like Dune was a good movie. He said he thought it was a good movie. He just said that it had some copy paste scenes in it. You know, like
yeah, like
he wasn't
everyone
saying it in a
knows they
bad
copy
way.
pasted the scene in which Baron Harkonnen comes out of the goo pit. That was also in Goodfellas.
Exactly.
Like we gotta get this 12-foot tall man on like strings out of the goo pit. And then Joe Pesci's like,
Yeah.
you got a goo pit, huh?
You don't got no goo pit unless you put me in that goo pit.
You think that
You know,
you think
it's-
Joe Pesci would ask to get in the goo pit with Baron Harkonnen?
No, he'd probably be in there already, and then someone would come up and piss him off, and he'd like
He'd get out of the goo pit and be like, hey.
kill him. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is a bad crossover event that I'm ready for. Goodfellas and Dune.
But yeah, the Coppola piece was really good. A lot of people I saw were like, I can't wait to see this one stupid comment that people were asking about Marvel movies and stuff get copy and pasted out of context forever. Because it's like, come on.
That is a pretty good one. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about the Dune crossover with Goodfellas. It just seems I'm just imagining like the voiceover. Who's the character that does the voiceover? Is it Ray Liotta's character that does it? Henry Hill, is he the voiceover guy? I think he is.
I'm not sure.
But either way, like I just imagine like Oscar Isaac being like, yes, we must take this job on Arrakis for the honor of House Atreides. And then the voiceover's like, and what he said about Anna, that struck with me. I remember a lot about Anna growing up when I was back in. And then he's just like, I just imagine like a New York mobster going to Arrakis with the Atreides and being like, yeah, we got to fight for the honor of the house. I know a thing or two about that. We're all family here.
Honestly, we need a Sopranos and Fast and Furious crossover.
No, nobody likes the tuna here at the diner, and Tony's like, yeah, well, I do.
Yeah, well, I do. So how about you gather yourselves up and get the fuck out of here?
And scene.